Have you done everything that you can to try to lose weight, particularly in the area of exercise? Going to gyms, paying expensive bills, running every day, exercises that you can't stand, and have you found that that all your efforts are in vain? Well, you see, the problem with trying to lose weight via exercising is that it actually doesn't work that way. It can't be done. Now, I have the solution to your weight loss issues, and it's the following. But if you want to know, you need to pay $49.95 for the answer. No, I'm kidding. This video is not about weight loss. But that little advertisement to start the video is instructive of what I'm going to be talking about. And it's about answers. The myriad answers to the questions that we have, the problems we have that concern us. And the overarching problem or question we have, and that's life. Is there an answer to life? So I'm going to read from my diary, and I'm going to talk about the point that I've come to in my search, be it spiritual, be it life, whatever. I saw something recently in a more clear light than I have in the past. I thought about spiritual gurus and started to question whether or not it's a huge con. I've done this before, but this time something deeper has emerged. Humans are all made up of desires and fears. Desires and fears are really the same thing. 1. If I want food, it means I fear going hungry, and thus dying. 2. If I fear getting eaten by the lion, it means I want to survive. All our fears and desires boil down to fear of annihilation or desire to keep living. As the years go by after birth, we accumulate these fears and desires, which get briefly quenched by things. But all those things are only temporary fixes, and our root fear or desire is always lurking, to stay alive or not die. Somehow we get it in our minds that there is a root answer which will fix the mortality dilemma. We know deep down that there is no final answer. I'll come back to that in a moment. We know there is no answer to life or death. But we search and search just in case there is. Our rabid consumption as a species is our root fear, desire gone haywire. We'll end up consuming ourselves and thus dying in the process. Objects of consciousness, and by that I mean physical objects or thoughts, anything that can appear in consciousness, even emotions. So objects of consciousness entice us all with the prospect of an answer. Depending on our individual conditioning, we may get fixated on certain things, e.g. losing weight. If it exists as a thought or physical entity or emotion, it can become a source of fixation. Money, drugs, entertainment, sex, technology, extreme sports, or even something as rudimentary as clipping one's toenails. Life will find your fixations or addictions. You, as an egoic entity, are a veritable fixation. This all leads back to the answer to life or death. I personally was drawn to spirituality when all the typical answers, such as money and ownership, weren't working for me. There was still a hole. The gurus had the answer: enlightenment. I've tried all their supposed strategies. I've had the bliss states, done the inquiry, meditated in all kinds of ways for hours upon hours. I've listened to satsang, watched Eckhart Tolle, read self-help books, listened to hours of spiritual gobbledygook in the form of audio talks. I then wondered to myself, this is recently, the source of all this effort and attachment is the search for an ultimate answer. What if there were no answer, and all these spiritual gurus were con artists? Have I, in all my numerous years searching along the spiritual path, found an answer that sticks? An answer that is final? No. The gurus all sound the same after a while. They're full of shit, basically. They all say the same thing, prescribe the same thing. 1. Quiet the mind, meditate, get beyond thought, blah blah blah. 2. The stillness, the presence. 3. Observe. 4. Who am I? What am I? 5. The problem is a faulty belief in self. The answer is finding yourself, your true nature. 6. God. 7. Everything is one. 8. The present moment. Etc., 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 ad nauseum. What I've basically done is I've come to the end of the road with all of these things. I've seen through every single one and the issues that they present. For example, let's take one. The present moment, that's a classic, or the power of now. Okay, so I tried living in the present moment. I tried basing my life around living in the present moment. And things went really wonderfully for a while, but then I found myself kind of forcing myself to be in the moment. I had thoughts of the past and the future, as everybody does, reverberating, recycling through my head. And I'd deny them. I became quite forceful, pushing them away. The irony of which is that I wasn't living in the present moment, the now. I suddenly realised something. I realised that now is also a thought, a construct, and that now, or the present moment, wouldn't even exist if there were no concept of future or past. We came to this construct of now, or the present moment, only through the arising of memory or preemptiveness. These are the things that humans learnt through their minds, is memory, preemptiveness. So They could recall events that happened in the past, and they could preempt, using deductive reasoning, what would happen in the future. But it all went haywire because we went overboard with it. But only with the arising of these two things would there be a concept of now. Because everything is what is happening. So I came to realise that those thoughts of living in the past and living in the future, the being caught up in that, well, being caught up in trying to live in the present moment or the now is just as much of an addiction as trying to live in the past or the future. If there were no concept of time, there'd be no issue. So it's not really about living in the present moment. Then what is? Oh, here we go, another answer. They just keep coming. All the answers keep coming. They keep coming. And in the end, I just realised that it's all bullshit. They're snake oil salesmen, those gurus. They're full of crap. So, having said all of this, I'm still open to the possibility that there is a final answer. But I don't think any guru can give it to me. If you're looking for an answer from me, you won't get it. I'm telling you that now. You might get some kind of momentary satisfaction. It might be nice to hear the possibility that there really is no answer from somebody that isn't suggesting here's an answer, if you do this, then this. This is the human dissatisfaction, the human dysfunction, if then, living in a conditional world. No more of that. Do whatever you want. Get fixated, get hooked. Just let it all happen. Or don't let it all happen. Whatever. The answers, there's no final answer. That's what I found. But I'm open to the possibility that there is. Because if I deny that there's a final answer, that itself leads to a point of fixation. And this whole talk, this whole discussion that there's no answer, could actually become a point of fixation. So like all objects of consciousness, and I've got a place which I call the end of the road, which is when all these objects of consciousness, thoughts, emotions, physical objects become meaningless. They don't provide that answer. So like all these objects of consciousness, they become of no use in the end. And they, to me, I'll still be doing the searching, but I realise that it's all kind of futile. So the new insight that I have had is this. Perhaps there really is no answer. It's sort of relieving to say that, just, it's so tiring to go searching for whatever cure it is to your ailments, your dissatisfaction with life. Or perhaps the answer is surrendering to one's mortality, that there is no answer to life, the life-death conundrum. There's no magic pill only temporary bandages. The final answer is that there is no answer.